What's up, guys? Welcome to Q&A Mondays. I'm Thad Barnette. In this episode, we're talking a little bit about how Sheffield Metals can support distributors throughout the nation with metal coils, sheets, engineered systems. To help me out, I've got Steven from Sheffield Metals to help me. Thank you very much, Steven.
Thanks for having me, Thad.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about distribution for a little bit and how Sheffield Metals can kind of, sell metal sheet and coil and engineered products through distributors.
With distribution, it's a big bonus for us and the distributors. Sheffield Metals, we have a pretty big footprint, but the United States is a very, very large place. So there are some areas that we just can't service to the ability that we would like to. And in those areas, developing relationships with distribution partners is a massive, massive benefit to both us and that region. There are areas that just don't get the supply of good quality, standing seam material. And there's a swath of people that don't get the option to get standing seam roofs put on that are quality, come with good warranties. And in those areas, partnering with a distributor partner it's a big deal. We get to bring metal into areas that don't normally get it.
Yeah. Talk to me more about the benefits of an end user, who, maybe haven't had that ability to get that metal sourced before.
When we partner with the distributor, they're typically ordering large amounts of material to stock on their floor. And by ordering bulk material, we can work with pricing. We can help be more competitive in those areas, which at the end of the day, provides better pricing and a more competitive market for the homeowner, property owner. And it also helps with lead times. When we're not having to ship somewhere that takes 3 days for a truck to get to, we are shipping there, but it gets there and it's staged and it's waiting for a contractor to pick up. So it rapidly reduces lead times. And then it also cushions areas for instability in pricing, because a lot of our distribution partners, we will help forecast and they can stock up, and they kind of help soften the blow when the steel market gets out of control. And as we've seen, the last 3-4 years, the steel market is way different than what it was when I first, joined the industry. And even before that, when I was a contractor, the world is changing and the steel market is changing, and having partners in the area is helping. It just helps kind of stabilize things in those markets.
And I think you're bringing up a good point about distribution being partners. It's not just a simple sale of metal, right? So tell me a little bit about how Sheffield works with the distributor partners, not only in stocking the right products, but offering technical support, education for their people as well to kind of pass along to the end users.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not just looking to dump a bunch of metal in someone's warehouse. I personally, I want their salespeople to be knowledgeable on our product. I want to try to mentor their salespeople into being expert metal salesmen. That's in Central and South Texas. Distribution is now playing a major role in our success. And part of that success is just supporting them like we support our contractors, teaching them about our testing and engineering programs, helping them connect their contractors with our sister company, NewTech, who produces the roll forming equipment to put those roofs on. So big key factor to success with distribution is the support that we give to the distributor on education. It helps solve a lot of the mistakes that might happen. As a former contractor, I can say running short on a job is something that happens. You can't always control different variables, and having local pickup, it makes a big difference, and it calms a lot of people down, because they know, they're not 6 hours away from a manufacturing facility. They've got a distributor, 30, 45 minutes away.
And, Sheffield is working on expanding that distributor base as well throughout the country. But does that mean that every opportunity for distribution is the right opportunity for Sheffield? Talk to me a little bit about that distinction.
It all depends. It's in DFW, we have a processing facility here. We offer local pickup, and we also ship as well, locally. But the best benefit for distribution is in those areas that we can't service. A lot of the areas where our processing facilities are located, we already have very strong relationships with the contractors and everything. And they do have that local pickup option because we are local to them. So it doesn't quite make sense all the time to develop a distribution relationship right in our back door. But I mean, for sure, in those more satellite locations further out, like that's where we really see the big benefit to the distributor and to Sheffield as well. There's some areas of the United States that there's just not a lot of metal going into, and some of these distributors get to be first to market with us, so it's great.
What are some ways that people can find, who distributes Sheffield Metals?
I mean, at the end of the day, the best thing is just pick up the phone and call the closest Sheffield Metals branch to you. We have great relationships with the distributors, so we'll be able to tell you exactly who to call. If you're, and it can be all the way down to, what part of San Antonio are you in? Are you in Western San Antonio? Or are you in Eastern San Antonio? We have distributors all over certain cities, and we can pinpoint exactly what location you should call. We can get you set up with the right people, and those distributors have a massive, massive network of contractors. So they will guide you to the best contractor for your location and your specific needs.
Let's look at it from the distributor's point of view for a second. Let's say I'm interested in stocking Sheffield Metal. What does that process look like? How does the onboarding process work, and how do I get started?
I would say that I answer this question similar to I answer a question from a contractor who's looking to get into metal. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to buy 3 or 4 truckloads right off the bat. We really need to team up, hit the streets, talk to the local contractors to see what items are hot, what's moving, what's not moving. And then let's build a stocking program based on the feedback from a lot of the times customers that they already have that they didn't realize they're doing metal. So I try to, stocking is a big deal. Having it on the floor ready for pickup is a big advantage and will get them a lot of business right away. We need to take a responsible approach into that and not just throw everything we got into the warehouse and hope it sells, So market research and educating the salespeople before the metal gets there and lands is a really, really big deal. And that's what I try to push really hard to these distributors when they reach out. And trust is a big thing. When we partner with the distributor, trusting each other that we're not going to, poach anybody's customers or anything like that. That is a big deal. And it makes a big difference to a distributor and to the contractor who's purchasing from them to know that if the distributor doesn't have the technical information that they need, that, in turn, they are a customer of Sheffield and they can call us, we will talk to them and we will get them the answers they need. And then we go back to the distributor and kind of have another training or education, session on those specific topics. And we're constantly finding new topics to teach people. And honestly, distribution has opened us up to a whole lot of new scenarios that we get to become experts at,
All right. Thank you very much, Stephen. Really appreciate the information on distribution.
For sure.
If you have any questions, comment down below. If you're interested in distributing Sheffield Metals product, you can call your local branch and we'd love to chat with you as well. Subscribe here to the Metal Roofing channel. As always, I'm Thad Barnette. We'll catch you next time.